How's it look?
Stunning.
We are back in the studio for 1 week only. So I thought it was a really good opportunity to answer some of the questions that were left in the previous vlogs, mainly the first vlog. There were lots of questions, which we loved reading. Love that all you guys watched that one. Appreciate the support with it.
I'm nervous.
You're nervous? So this one is from John Paul's 3 girls. Where does he live? And is her name actually Babe?
We live on the Sunshine Coast in Queensland, Australia, and her name is Katelyn, but we just call her Babe.
You can call me Babe. I think most people now know me as Babe, so that is fine. This is from Princess Consuela Banana Hammock. Brownie points if you can tell me what show that's from. I'd love to know how you met each other, how you fell in love. Tell us the start of your relationship.
Oh, juicy. So I have a very good friend, Kez, who I went to school with. And he met a girl, Hannah, who Katelyn was very good friends with. And then Katelyn came down to visit Hannah in Melbourne. We're living in Melbourne. And Hannah brought Katelyn into the restaurant I was working in. And here we are.
I was meant to go live overseas for 2 years. That didn't happen. Sorry, T. That would have been about 9 years ago, I think.
That's a long time.
It's a really long time. How we fell in love, it was pretty quick. Just met him at you would say the wrong time, but worked out, to be honest. Was not looking for a relationship at all. But, yeah.
When you know, you know.
Yeah. As corny as that is. Can you tell us in the next vlog how the requested dishes are chosen?
Oh, well, that's a good question. That's a secret. It's an algorithm secret.
It's definitely on me.
Yeah. There's no real rhyme or reason behind it. We now get so many requests that it's really hard to keep up. I do really appreciate the people that ask every day for the same thing. And there's a guy who is like I think he's up to 300 days now of asking for veal sweetbreads. And I've tried to make it so many times, I just can't find them. So one day I'll do that.
Okay, when did you guys take this serious, or did you do that from day one?
I never do things by halves, so I kind of took it pretty serious from day one. It was never like, I'm just going to make some food content. It was, people are making a career out of this. I want to do that. How do I get there? So, it happened, and it's happened faster than I thought it would before we could go full time. But very grateful. It's a pretty crazy job, but I love every second of it.
Did you ever think back when it was just, hey babe, what do you want for ... that it would take off this big?
No, I didn't think that would be the catalyst for such incredible growth.
It was just a fun concept. Yeah. And obviously it's the question that gets asked every couple, right? What do you want for lunch? What do you want for dinner? And the usual response is, I don't know. And sometimes I do respond with that, but not always. Maybe I'll cut that out. So it was kind of just fun. It's just that relationship banter, the conversation that you have every single day. We just decided to make a video out of it, and it worked. How many takes for you to say, hey babe, what do you want for dinner?
Not many.
Usually one. Andy's a one-hit wonder. He likes things done like this. If I stuff up, I have to do a couple of takes. It's not happy. Just kidding. It's not the hey babe, what do you want for dinner? Sometimes it's the dishes that are requested. Andy loves to make a lot of international cuisine. And because I'm the one that has to say the dishes, sometimes I really struggle with the pronunciation of certain dishes. So I have butchered it many times. People in the comments tell me when I butchered it. That's okay, you can put me in check. And sometimes people tell me they cannot understand me because of my accent.
Look, we do a lot of international cuisine, and we try our very best to pay respect to it. We don't ever want to, so if we make mistakes on a dish, it's not out of disrespect, it's out of just lack of research or lack of information around that dish. Hence the series Origins that's coming up soon.
Yeah. So I actually do jump on YouTube and like Google how do you pronounce, I forget some of the really hard ones that we've done. What was the one on YouTube that the guy requested for ages?
Oh, it was a Korean noodle dish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like, bibim yang yang. I think I still butchered it, but I do try.
Babe, are you a Kiwi?
I'm not.
She wishes she was.
Oh, whatever. Full-blown Aussie right here.
Once I saw a comment that Babe worked in a patisserie. Is that true?
No.
No. Babe can't cook.
Definitely not.
Definitely not Babe.
Hey, I have made you some things. It's true. I'm a horrendous cook, which is why I date a chef. But I've made a couple of things, and I think that comes from every time Andy hits 1 million on TikTok, I make a dish, and it's generally something sweet. So I think I made a cake, I've made scrolls, but that I have to follow a recipe.
Your dog's adorable. Does he eat any human food?
This is Duck. This is Duck.
This is Ducky. So Duck is a male French bulldog, and he's food obsessed. Duck. So we're in the studio where we kind of hang out and stuff most of the time. Duck kind of hangs out here on the weekends only, really, because it's just too busy and crazy. So he spends a lot of time at Katelyn's parents' place. And Duck never ate human food before he started hanging out at Katelyn's parents' place. And now...
Classic parent. My parents don't have any grandkids yet, so they treat the dogs as grandkids, so they absolutely spoil him. I think his favourite snack is Rob Flood's crackers. Thirsty boy. You good? Are you done? I'd love to hear how Andy's career started as a chef, what inspired him, what makes him keep going. It's such a rough world in the kitchen, but it's also inspiring.
Well, thank you to start with. I don't know, I always wanted to be a chef, like from as long as I can remember. So there was no question on my mind I would work in food. What inspires me to keep going? I think, I don't know, I just love food. Like I just genuinely really love it. And I love the community around it. And I think it's like, really supportive and a fantastic community. But it is, you're right, it is hard. And I think that's why you find a lot of chefs get to kind of my age and start looking for other, or trying to get out of the kitchen full time. There's a few guys that's kind of managed to keep going, but for me, once I got to like my mid 30s or even early 30s, I was like, well, let's figure a way out of the kitchen, because working in a kitchen every day is pretty tough on the body.
How the channel started and its origins.
It was a product of COVID. So I was working as a corporate executive chef in Melbourne. Most of the restaurants I looked after were based in airports. So as soon as COVID hit, I lost my job pretty quickly. It's just nature of what was happening at the time. All the restaurants were closed. We moved to Queensland from Melbourne, and then I decided to, at some point, I should just start making content because I was going a bit crazy. And it was just an outlet for me. It drove me to try and cook new things every day. And it also made me, I like learning, so it forced me to learn a bunch of new skills, like how to use a camera and how to edit a video and all that stuff.
So this is from Mr. Milbard. My favorite detail of each episode is the single, sometimes obscure ingredient that is pulled from the fridge at launch. How is that decided?
It's the first thing that I see that's part of the recipe, but isn't the main ingredient.
Can you talk about your thought process behind recipe creation? I'd love to hear how a trained chef formulates a recipe, refines it into a dish you shoot for a video. Love the channel, keep it up.
Thank you, first of all, for the support. It's really, for me, I learn by doing stuff, so I don't really learn by reading at all. Sorry, I can't do two things at once. As a chef, you grow a bunch of skills around basic techniques, and then you can and you have an understanding of what flavors work. You have an interest in certain cuisines, so you kind of understand how those cuisines work at a very, very general level. So if I'm trying to make a dish, I'll just use that kind of experience to pull stuff together. And it's not really thought about, if that makes sense. I kind of just do it. So I'm a little bit different to a lot of recipe creators or content creators in this niche, where I kind of reverse engineer everything. So I'll make a dish, I'll just cook it and film it, and then I'll write a recipe at the end once the video is edited.
It's a unique way of doing it.
Yeah.
And this one's definitely from an Aussie. If you follow AFL, which team do you go for? Very important question.
I don't really follow AFL, to be perfectly honest. But if I had a team, it's the Magpies, Collingwood Magpies, because black and white, just like the All Blacks.
Yeah. Dazz, we have some questions for you.
Take a seat. How are the team lunches feeling? And then sometimes non-existent.
Are you recording?
Yeah. Chef, how are the team lunches?
I'm eating it right now.
Today's was pizza. Yesterday's was curry. The day before that might have been pizza again. The day before that there was 4 dishes. So some days they are very filling, and they vary from dessert to breakfast to Southeast Asian to a snack. Hi Duck. So are Mitch and Dazz co-workers or a couple? It depends on the hour of the day. Between 9 and 5, we're co-workers. But for the past 10 years, we've been a couple. So the co-workers thing is new, and it's a dynamic we are learning. I think we're doing all right.
Yeah, we're surviving.
We're surviving. We're doing okay. So sorry, gals. Basic Mitch is not free, or you're gonna work really hard to get him off me.
Oh, where is he?
I'm hiding.
I've come to ask him questions and he's not here.
I'm just looking busy, acting busy. Always busy. So much to do.
We're disrupting Mitch's editing, so we can ask him questions.
Alright, question 1. I thought Basic Mitch was just a house guest that would never go home, and it turns out he works there. I don't know how I feel about that. Do I ever leave? I don't think I ever leave. Yeah,
you were just a house guest.
I was a house guest. We'll find out that I'm the bread and butter. But yeah, no, I do a lot of work here, and I love basic food. I love good food, and the basic food's never really that basic, so that's why I stick around, you know. Andy's kind of nailed it because I never have to head home. How long does Mitch have to sit in the fridge before you get the perfect take? One shot wonder almost all the time. It's literally like, yeah, I think there's probably been 5 times where it hasn't been kind of perfect or that usable shot. So that's credit to Andy as well, though, not just me climbing into the fridge, but we actually use a GoPro for that shot. So if you're wondering why the colors are a little bit off, it's because we squeeze a GoPro in there rather than a camera.
Don't blame your filming skills.
Not my filming skills, it's definitely the camera quality. But yeah, no, we've done it, what? I've done it probably 300 times, Andy's done it probably 600 times, so I think we're getting pretty good at it.
It's not a slow-mo?
Hopefully. Is it?
No, it says M, which I'm pretty sure.
Alright.
Yeah.
Hey.
Be rude not to.
Not for you, Dad. Cheers.
Cheers.
How did the team come together? Are you all friends from the days before Andy cooks?
Well, Katelyn and I, 10, 12 years ago.
About that, yeah.
Yeah. Friend of... How far do I go into this?
So Mitch used to date my best friend's sister, and so we used to hang out a bit. We've travelled a little bit together. Yeah. They broke up. She broke his heart. But we just still hung out with Mitch.
I don't know. People think it was weird, but Katelyn and I were like best friends for a while. So
yeah.
We
used to sunbake together actually. We were sunbaking buddies.
Beach and burritos and drinks and way too many uni nights. But
so when Andy needed to expand the team a little bit more, get someone on the camera and editing, Obviously, Mitch was the first to mind. He used to just hang around anyway. I don't know if it was for the free food or
Here for the good food. I took a few photos, held a camera once, and then all of a sudden, 24/7. You know.
Yeah.
No, it's epic though. So but yeah, I feel like Katelyn and I brought this together. No matter what anyone else says, it's true.
It's not Andy. It's Mitch and
Andy cooks.
Will we see Basic Mitch and Babe in the same video?
Whoa. That might break the internet. maybe that's something for the future.
But what would we request?
I don't know. You're so fancy, and like, I'm a simple man.
Get squishy.
We've got lemonades. Make room, Duck.
You right? You good? You settled?
It's wet.
Oh no, who did that?
No one likes a soggy bum shot.
So Andy, what's something you don't like to eat?
Okra.
What is okra? I feel like I'm allowed to ask that. Hey, that does not sound like a basic dish.
You're allowed to ask that.
I reckon he doesn't like it because it's not basic.
No, it's a vegetable.
Vegetable.
Yeah, not slimy.
Mitch and Dazz,
Mm-hmm.
did you come from a food background as well? Oh, as well as media.
A hard no from the food background. We're food industry virgins, just except for hospitality, I guess.
I ate some snails in Vietnam like 10 years ago. That was pretty crazy. And I've had like the worms in tequila, but that's about as crazy as my kind of food adventures go. So no, definitely not food background for me, and it was just photography before this. So
I'm actually the only one that went to uni for anything in this industry, but have never worked in this industry. So my degree was pretty useless, so these guys are making it valid again.
Yeah, putting it to work. What's Duck's favourite dish / dropped food?
Oh, that's easy.
seafood.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, you
He
thought
does
it was
like
easy.
fish.
His favourite dish is peanut butter, though.
He's had a fair bit of Wagyu as well. I would say that's probably high up on the
He's a
list.
fancy
He
boy.
did eat a lot of mac and cheese at one.
Doesn't go well in his gut though.
Who's the hardest to work for? Caitlin or Andy?
Katelyn for sure. 1000%.
How's it me?
Andy,
Caitlin's been in the job for 2 weeks.
How am I hard to work
she makes
for?
me like hustle every day. I'm like, damn. No, it's good though. People need to keep me accountable.
What did your camera and lighting start with in the early days in comparison to what it is now?
Yeah, what did it start with, Chef?
It started with
Bubble in my throat.
a Sony A6100, which is like a crop sensor. I had no idea how to use it, and I've always edited on Premiere Pro. And I learned how to use Premiere Pro through watching YouTube videos, and then I forced Mitchell to use Premiere Pro with much kicking and screaming when he started doing.
Yeah, I was a Final Cut guy, and Andy's like, here you go, but we need to use the same program. And I was like, I literally didn't edit videos. I had a free trial of Final Cut, and I'm like, all right, we're
Guess we're learning.
You don't have to pay for it right now.
Now, I didn't even have any lights at the start, and then it was like, then I bought a microphone, and then like a bigger microphone, and some like really cheap lights, and now it's like ridiculous. There's big lights and 3 or 4 camera bodies floating around doing a shoot, and gimbals and overhead cameras and.
I'm gonna bring up one of my favorite videos is definitely Mitch and Tim in the dress.
No, that's
So
not making a comeback.
comment below if you want to see Mitch in a basic Mitch in a dress again.
Sitting like this again.
I think not the dress. It needs to be the Jam Pikel's DTs. The boys in the
Oh,
yes.
Yeah.
They're not.
In the budgie smugglers.
Yeah.
They're disappearing.
No.
Sorry, Ash.
Comment
they're
below.
Yeah.
Back
Alright.
to work, you lot.
That's what it's like working here.
It's like, all right, go. We just
We
lost
know you
15
have
minutes.
friends busy being serious. Cheers
Alright.
to a Friday Arvo.
Cheers.
Cheers.
See you next week. Like and subscribe.
She's getting it. She's figuring it out.